just too busy. It's 5:30. We'll call to order this meeting for Tuesday, January 19th. Carl, would you start us off with a roll call, please?
Councilmember Remley. Ronayne.
Present.
Lunsman.
Present.
Reif.
Present.
Johnson. Reinbold.
Present.
Langer.
Present.
Rux.
Present.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Present. Councilman Johnson called me, and he'll be running a few minutes late, so we do expect him in person. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. First order of business will be to approve last meeting's, the agenda for this, jumping out of order here with the new system. Approve the agenda. I guess, Joe, we've got one small alteration to make to this week's agenda.
Yes, there's one item staff recommends removing. It's under the consent calendar, number C3 for a taxi cab license. We'll remove that at this time.
Let's get a motion to make that adjustment and then approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote to make that adjustment and to approve the rest of the agenda?
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we will approve the minutes for last week's meeting, January 4th. I'll get a motion to make for that approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Lunsman and a second from Councilman Reif. Does anyone have any changes or additions to make? Well, Carl, you did a good job keeping up with that. We'll give me a voice vote to make that approval, please.
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Langer.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the remaining 5 items on the consent calendar. I'll take a motion to approve these items.
Move to approve.
Move.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Reinbold and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Anyone have anything on this consent calendar items? Oh, Councilman Rux.
On the bid for fleet vehicles, what departments are those vehicles for?
The first two one will be fire, one will be police. The second one on the list will be public works engineering, and then the other two, number 3 and 4, will both go to public works.
Okay. Just to refresh my memory, I think in the budget for this year, we cut a vehicle for planning and zoning and building inspection. Can you remind me if that was that cut just for a cut out of the capital outlay, or was that cut because we weren't sure what revenue was going to do?
Yeah, it was cut early on. It was actually cut before we even really brought the proposals, but yes, that was one. There was a couple others that were on as well.
Okay.
Good.
Yep.
Sounds good. Carl, give me a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ronayne.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Reif.
Aye.
Reinbold.
Aye.
Langer.
Abstain.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got our new business. We've got a public hearing on the request for the Northland Real Estate Holdings, LLC, Jopi Incorporated, or Yopi, I guess, perhaps it is, and Paces Lodging for vacation of public alley right-of-way, possible property located at 102 and 124 6th Avenue Southwest and at 506 South 1st Street. So this would be the possible approval of the resolution to vacate that right-of-way. Brett, what can you tell us about that?
This is the alley that is located to the east of the old Hardee's building and west of the 5th Avenue Apartments. It's a north-south alley. They're requesting to vacate the alley in order to plat it into the adjacent property. The alley is currently utilized as an access point for parking at the existing businesses and apartments. There are no city water or sewer lines within the alley. An application for a special exception to operate a car wash on the south half of the block was approved by the Board of Zoning Adjustment on December 10th. And this petition to vacate was approved by the Planning Commission on December 15th with stipulations that any utility easements that are within that alley, there needs to be an easement if there's any that exist. Staff recommends approval with that stipulation.
Move approval?
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Rife. Does anyone have any questions about this recommendation? All right, sounds good. So that alleyway, does it get split in half between the two property
That
owners?
is correct.
Is that enough space for parking on the west side of the
It
Fifth
would
Avenue
be for
apartments?
the Fifth Avenue apartments, yes.
Okay.
They own the lot to the west of that as well.
Oh, is that something that took place in the Hardee's transaction or separately?
The Hardee's transaction took in the casino and the Hardee's building. The other one was a separate transaction at a different time.
Understood. Sounds good. So we've got a motion and a second. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Thank you very much, Brett. Next, we've got the recommendation on purchase of Elgin Pelican street sweeper from Sanitation Products. Possible approval to purchase that sweeper in the amount of $220,852 from Sanitation Products using Sourcewell Contracting and declare surplus a 2013 sweeper to be sold at a city auction. Robin.
Sweepers are a very high maintenance item, and we would like to keep on schedule with these. We talked with the city manager to make sure that this is it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but to make sure that we're able to stay on schedule and that it fits within our budgetary thought process, making sure that we aren't overextending ourselves. He's okay with it. We would recommend approval of moving forward with the purchase through this process of Sourcewell.
Move approval?
Second.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Does anyone have any questions for Robin? Josh?
What do you think the value is of the 2013?
Normally, those are only gonna run in that $15,000, $20,000 range because they are pretty well used up by the time we're getting rid of them. They become a real high maintenance item. The hydraulic motors and things like that are usually on the weak side. The conveyors and things that convey the dirt into the hopper are usually in pretty tough shape. So anybody purchasing them knows that they're probably gonna have to stick some money into them to make them usable.
Any other questions?
This was budgeted for this year then?
It is.
And as far as budget, 220,000, that's within budget?
We got a $250,000 budget for
Oh,
this
okay.
item, so it's not only coming in under budget. I just wanted to make sure when we talked to the city manager that this isn't one of those items that we want to hold off on, and revenues look favorable right now.
Carl, roll call vote.
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the discussion and possible approval of the proposed amendments to the 2021 budget, capital purchases and projects, possible approval of those amendments to this budget. Joe, what can you tell us about that?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is something that, as kind of was just mentioned a little bit ago, there were some things taken out of the 2021 budget, capital items that we agreed we would evaluate some of them to come back here at the first of the year to take a look at it. And then also, since then, we adopted a new fleet plan that adds a few things into it. And gradually we'll change the way some of the things go into the budget and how they're assigned. So we would like to ask the council tonight permission to add those back into the budget, at least preliminarily. Then we can move forward with the purchasing of that, the planning for the projects. And when we bring back an actual supplement, likely in March or April, have some real firm numbers of what those cost, and that's what will be adjusted into the budget. So just a real quick review. There are a few items that were initially removed from the budget that are put back in. That's a couple of things for the solid waste equipment for $176,000. The Parks and Rec, their capital fund request was funded at a much smaller amount. So we're asking that that amount be increased by a net amount of $138,500, of which about $90,000 of that will be to replace the barn that burnt down earlier this winter. So some of their projects still aren't in their smaller capital projects. And then in the street improvement, to move the mill and overlay from $543,000 to $800,000, that will be on a project on the business loop out by the Auto Mall area, the old Shopco building. That'll probably be the first year of at least a 2-year project. And then the items related to the adoption of the new fleet plan, which are the vehicles you just approved, that if this moves forward, going through with the bidding process very soon. So 3 fleet vehicles, 2 patrol vehicles, and we'll talk a little bit more about those in the next motion. And then because of the new fleet plan, we're moving 1 vehicle that was in the water budget to the fleet plan, so we're saving some money there. So that'll be a delete from that budget.
Moved.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Rife. Does anyone have any questions for Joe? Clint?
So, question here, as far as street improvement projects. When was the last time we've done any concrete street repair?
The last actual concrete repair was probably 3 years ago. And we were finding that we were having more failures at it than we were having successes, or things that we had repaired, let's say a couple years previous, where we were getting more pop-outs, things like that. Until we found a suitable replacement for how we were going about it, we were in consultation with the city of Sioux Falls. We started doing more patching with asphalt. And then the process we also went through was we were putting that money more toward drainage improvements for the street, the patch and seal program that our street department does, to try to get caught up on some of that, which we were behind on. We were always stopping short of where we should have been finishing. So we were putting the money to a little different use on the concrete side.
And I'm not opposed to, the money being spent here, but as I drive around, there are a lot of roads that, take Melgard, especially between that Main and Melgard Park, Roosevelt, numerous streets that just haven't had anything done as far as crack repair or anything like that. Like I say, to have no money, for concrete road repair is not catching us up on that end. And it is expensive because we can't do it ourselves, but I don't know if something could be spent to help improve that end either, because this year has been a terrible year with your freeze thaw. This isn't going to get better on any of our roads. So I just throwing that out there. Like I said, I think it's something we need to look at, because it's not going to get any better.
And, I hesitate to pull back on the drainage improvements, and yet I recognize what you're saying as far as the improvements to the concrete streets overall. Our small repairs that we've been making, those little diamonds you see at the joints and stuff, those were failing at a lot higher rate than I care to see. And so, rather than doing something that we just know is gonna result in more failures, we felt if we aren't gonna be doing actual slab replacements, which then really, now all of a sudden we're multiplying things by tenfold the cost of doing repairs, or we're doing a lot smaller segments. That's quality versus quantity type conversation. So I recognize what you're saying, but we are trying to put it to a beneficial use. It's only a matter of money to be able to do more.
And just to add to that, this is something we've talked about, and I think once we know where the total sales taxes are, after we get the last month in. We've talked before about maybe having a little discussion with you in the future about maybe some ways to allocate some of that, how to save some of it, maybe some debt reduction, maybe some street improvements that we just don't fit the budget right now, which might be these things. So those are some things we're going to talk a little bit more about here in the near future.
So the little asphalt triangles was the result of the recommendation from Sioux Falls, or that's kind of something that's in the works?
Actually, it's in the works, but as I was in Sioux Falls a couple months ago, I found that a lot of their concrete streets have been repaired in the same method as what we're doing right now. And I have not talked to them about why they're doing it that way, but it's something that I did observe within the last couple months.
Thank you, Robin. So we've got our motion and our second. Any other questions on this? All right, well then, Carl, why don't you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the recommendation of bids for 4 2021 police package vehicles for the police department. Possible approval to award the low bid for the purchase of those 4 interceptors to Pearson Ford for $145,888. And Joe, you're going to tell us about that.
Yes, this is relates to some of what we just discussed as we evolved through 2020 and looking at our fleet plan and how we do business and when we put out bids and those sorts of things. So this is really the first attempt at some of the new strategies we have. So again, this story grows as we go along. It started out with the 2021 budget. 2 vehicles were included. As we went through and adopted the fleet plan, it moved to 3. And so when we put the bids out, we were anticipating that we would purchase 3 vehicles if a good responsive bid came in. Shortly after we put the bid out, we received information the police department had put in for some grant funds from the I believe kind of the drug recovery fund at the state, and under that they'd asked for a vehicle for a K-9 unit and also some protective equipment for the SWAT team. Both of those were granted. We got that notification again after the bids had gone out. So we're going to ask that a 4th vehicle be purchased. So the first 3 will come out of the budget. The 4th one will be 100% paid for by grant funds. So actually a nice little bonus there in that 4th one. So we recommend that the low bid from Pearson be accepted at the purchase of 4 2021 Ford Interceptors at a total cost of $145,888.
Move approval.
Moved.
So we've got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Ronayne. Any questions for Joe on this? I'm glad to hear that we're getting a free police vehicle. That's always a nice thing, especially when they've been going slow. Councilman Wright.
Now, Joe, are these Ford Interceptors, are those cars?
They're basically Ford Explorers on small steroids.
Okay, that was my question for the K-9 unit. I was wondering how that was going to work. So,
Councilman Rux.
And these are comparable to, state bid.
Yes, right, pretty close, right on the money there. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm very pleased that it went to a local vendor. I know that's been a real concern of ours and something that hopefully will continue to turn the tide on. Carl, would you give me anyone else have any questions, I guess I should ask? Carl, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the council approval for the 2021 annual budget, state revolving loan fund, and tax increment financing payments. Possible approval of those payments for the bond, SRF, and TIF payments. And Carl, what can you tell us about those?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things we've typically done in the past is ask for approval to make these bond payments and debt service payments as they come due. Because these are typically covered under a loan agreement or a bond covenant, we thought it would be more expedient to just ask for approval for these payments at the beginning of the year and then just make the payments as they occur. We will still bring them. They will still be included in the bill list, but we wanted to make sure that we had these all approved ahead of time.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Renane and a second from Councilman Rux. And just to be clear, so the TIF payments are money that the city receives in property tax revenue that we're essentially just redistributing back to the person who's done the TIF.
Correct, either the developer, or if the developer has a loan, it would go to the loaning agency.
And does the city finance any of those TIFs ourselves, or 100% of that is external agents?
We have 2 loans that the city financed during the Happy build out for TIF number 14 and TIF number 15. We thought it would be best if the city would provide the funds for those projects, and we're being repaid back at an amount of 2% and whatever the annual LIBOR rate is, which is a London index.
Sure.
London index.
That's fun. Great.
Yeah. At the time, it was a good interest rate for Happy, and it was a good interest rate for the city to receive on that loan. And still is, I think.
Sounds great. Any other comments or concerns, questions? All right. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote for that approval, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the request payment to Harlow's Bus Sales for 20% of the purchase price of a 2019 Dodge Grand Caravan for the Aberdeen Ride Line under the state fiscal year 20, section 5339B grant award. Possible approval of this payment in the amount of $8,428.70. Rich, are you here? Oh, I see you.
Yes, I am, Mayor. Good evening. Thank you. So, yeah, the majority of this vehicle is going to be paid for with the 5339 grant, and the city's portion of that would be 20%, or 8,000. What do we got here? $8,428.78.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Rux. Does anyone have any questions for Rich on this Grand Caravan? Otherwise, Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got a change order for the AIP 346000140 2019 taxiway improvements. Possible approval and authorize the city manager to sign the change order number 4 in the amount of $12,421.15 to Reedy Construction. Rich, what can you tell us about that?
Okay, this was for our taxiway Charlie project, and we ended up having to haul in more black dirt at the end of the project than was initially anticipated. There were some pretty deep ruts created during the project, and we've got some grant assurances that we have to abide by, that we cannot have any rutting out in the runway safety areas. So that's what this one's for, $12,421.
Move approval.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Any questions for Rich? Carl, roll call, please.
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got payment requests for airport improvement projects. The first one is payment 27. For Taxiway C, Helms and Associates in the amount of $3,495.22. We've got a payment to ARFF Mobile Test Cart E1 Inc. in the amount of $34,070, and payment to GA Apron Project to Helms and Associates in the amount of $2,649.02. Possible approval for these payments. Rich, you're still here, so tell us about it.
Yep, I'm still here. The first one, item H1, is going to be for engineering services on the Taxiway Charlie project. We're very close to completing that job and actually closing it out with the FAA. On H2, That one is for the ARF cart. It's an environmentally logical cart that we don't actually put any foam on the ground anymore. We're able to meter that foam out and verify the accuracy of both of the aircraft rescue firefighting trucks. And I was able to actually secure a $35,000 100% grant from the FAA, so there's no city contribution required on that one. And then H3 is the second payment for our upcoming project on taxiway design, and that'll begin this spring as soon as we can get contractors in and start working.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Ronayne and a second from Councilman Reinbold. Any questions on any of these payments? Rich, you're gonna have to start writing grants for the rest of us here. I feel like you're sure getting a lot of them closed out there.
It's not pretty. I grovel a lot.
Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we've got the review and approval of the claims and payroll. First is bills, approval of the list provided for January 19th, and then we've got payroll, which is the pay period for January 3rd through 16th, and the Social Security, old age, and survivors insurance, retirement health, and life insurance. Can I get a motion to make all of those payments?
So moved.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Carl, would you give me a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rux,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Rife,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Ronayne,
Aye.
Mayor Shoneman.
Aye, motion does carry. Next, we'll move along to the city manager's report.
Yes, a couple of things here. First, some really good news. Rich is not the only one that can get grants. Mark Hoven and his staff over at Parks and Rec that last week received a letter that they will get $160,000 from the Land and Water Conservation Fund to go towards the inclusive playground project that's going on out at Wiley Park. So that'll be a really nice addition out there. And if you've ever seen any of those inclusive playgrounds, they make you feel really good about accommodating all the children, and that's exciting. So good work for them. And then also just kind of we talk about the COVID vaccine update, and just to be clear, I've said this a couple different times, and I've gotten a couple of emails about it. We're really a communication partner in this. The state is directing the vaccine and where it's going, and the healthcare providers are doing it. But we listen to our healthcare providers and we help them where we can. I believe there will be more community campaigning once it becomes open to the public. But I did receive some information last week they asked us to share, is that we are moving into the 1D, which gets to be the older population, and they're going to prioritize that by those, I think, starting with 80 and over, with especially with underlying conditions, and that'll move down till they've got pretty much that 65 and over population. But of course, if you have underlying conditions, your doctor knows about it. So the hospitals and clinics are working together at this point in time to determine priority and alongside the quantities of the vaccines that they will get. It's very difficult right now to project that. We've all seen things in the news, but the hospitals, the healthcare providers are asking that you just patiently wait. They're getting inundated with phone calls, and they're trying to make phone calls at the same time you're trying to call them. So just try and wait patiently here over the next couple of weeks while you watch how that process goes. But so far, we're hearing good reports about how it's going here locally, and just encourage people to keep educating themselves. There's a lot of good resources on there about whether or not you feel the vaccine is right for you, and we'll continue to help communicate the messages as they come along.
Thank you very much, Joe. Good news. Anyone else have anything to add before we move to adjourn this meeting?
I just had a quick question for Joe.
Councilwoman Langer, what have you got?
I've just gotten a couple emails lately asking about just threats for tomorrow or anything, and so I just wanted to address concerns and see if we've heard anything on a city level and for taking any extra precautions for tomorrow.
So the police chief and I have had a few conversations about this, and I see Dave, are you on the line here? He gets a weekly update from the Fusion Center, which is our Homeland Security group and peer. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit, Dave.
Yeah, thanks for the question. There are no specific threats or information that we've received about our community. We're fully staffed and we're tied into the state's intelligence network. So if there would be something that were to come up, we'd be able to respond. But there's nothing specific that we're concerned about or watching in our community right now. Thank you for that question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Adding to that, I do know that the news reported that the FBI was saying that something with federal buildings and softer targets. You haven't heard anything about that or anything? Chief?
In general, no. We had there was an individual that made us aware of an assembly he was going to have, and I believe that occurred over the weekend, and that caused no issues. We had no complaints about that. We did make our federal courthouse aware of that since the assembly was going to occur there. The marshal in charge of the security had interacted with us, but that event is come and gone. Deputy Lensman maybe could speak to our courthouse facility. I think they're doing a good job there, but nothing specific to our court facilities or anything like that.
Thank you very much, Chief. Got anything for us, Dave?
Yes, so far nothing local for us. We do have a heightened awareness just like the police department does, but there's nothing specific for our area that's been on the wire yet.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Keep your eyes open. Anything else before we move to adjourn? Then I will take a motion. Motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Rux and a second from Councilman Lunsman. Carl, would you give us a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ronayne,
Aye.
Lunsman,
Aye.
Reif,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Rux,
Aye.
Mayor Schoeneman.
Aye. Motion does carry. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.